Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Don. And if you know anything about my channel, you know I have another channel over there called Don Talk. Make sure you go over there and subscribe to that channel. Shouts out to all my subscribers over there. If you're on both channels, salute, thank you, I appreciate it. Now, this video here is what really happened to Outkast. I'm gonna watch this video. You watch it with me. I kind of know what happened to him, but I ain't gonna really disturb the groove. We're gonna get into it because you know what? I still feel like this deep down inside, right? Not even being funny. I still feel like the South got something to say, so we're gonna let them speak.
Eminem utilized Andre's rhythms for the creation of his own tracks, and Until I Collapse, he referred to him as one of the best rappers ever.
Tupac and Biggie, Andre from Outkast, Jada, Corrupt, Nas, and Thimmy.
Oh yes, and in general, many people react like this when they hear Andre's name.
Like when you say andre3000, you gotta pause now.
And let's not forget about Big Boy, who inspires many with his lyrical mastery. He can rhyme words that don't rhyme. According to Andre, Big Boy can rap better than him.
Laid the girl like Darth Vader, made her from College Park and Fed, all the way down to the hater.
In 2004, Outkast had already received 6 Grammys, and it would seem as if everything is going according to plan. The guys had achieved everything they set their minds on. However, their most popular and legendary album, Speakerboxxx The Love Below, unexpectedly became the last release in the duo's history. And all of that simply because they decided to go their separate ways due to different artistic and life priorities. Even though, at the beginning, this never hindered them.
But being famous really sucks, man.
Outkast met as high school students in Atlanta, both enrolled at Tri-Cities High School in East Point, Georgia, a school geared toward students hoping for a career in the performing arts. They stood out from the other students, they recalled, initially because of their unusually preppy clothing choices. It was music, however, that cemented their early friendship. Both were fans of the more daring vein of hip-hop artists, such as De La Soul, the Brand Nubians, and A Tribe Called Quest. They also loved 1970s funk from the likes of George Clinton and Sly and the Family Stone. Big Boy and Andre began writing their own raps, which they turned into mixtapes. They initially named their outfit 2 Shades Deep, but learned it had already been taken by another group. They renamed themselves The Misfits, which they also discovered was being used. Looking up misfit in the dictionary, they found the synonym outcast and decided to use that, but keep the dictionary's phonetic K spelling.
Where we was trying to think of a word, to describe us as the people, and that's daily, every day, outcast. Since you born, you outcast.
Dre and Big Boy admitted later to having a bit of a wild streak as teens, and Andre dropped out of Tri-Cities High after his junior year. Their ambitions were strong, however, and they looked for a way into the music business. At that time, the Atlanta scene was quickly growing. Back then, TLC and Criss Cross were already at the forefront of the entire hip-hop industry. The real spirit and sound of the city was yet to be heard. In a basement in southeast Atlanta, Sleepy Brown, Ray Murray, and Rico Wade had joined forces to create and produce music. They called themselves Organized Noise. Eventually, LaFace Records found out about them, and the guys began writing beats for the label. However, they needed to find rappers. As Rico Wade recalls, when he worked in the cosmetic department, one girl said that she knows 2 guys from school who can rap. In the end, they met up with Andre and Big Boy, who were around 15, 16 at the time. After the teenagers finished rapping, Rick understood that this is exactly what they need.
In 1993, but no, it's 1994. See, I am thinking in the notes to all you hoes, y'all know. I used to go to SWD and I got my gat for the niggas who wants to trouble me.
They made their way to that very same legendary basement and began writing some music. It seemed that everything began greatly, but in just one moment, the guys lost faith in themselves. It was when the label's producer, L.A. Reid, who worked in the pop and R&B sectors, said that he doubts that they can become stars. Sure, they had cool lyrics, but he didn't see any personality or unique style in them. The guy started thinking that perhaps they started all this in vain.
I bumped into them in 1992, I think, or 1993, something like that, around that time. I think it's 1993. I bumped into, I came focused on their music, and so I listened to them. I was like, yo, I don't know too many rappers that come the way they come, especially their introduction. Time and time again, when I be thinking about the future, back in the days when we were slaves, I bet me was some cool apps. Oh my God, I love that song. I'm gonna listen to that right now, then I'm gonna come back and finish the video. I gotta go listen to that song. Hold on, one sec.
And Big Boy kept going regardless, and they became even better. Organized Noise urged them to become unique, and it worked out for them. The next time Reed heard them, he understood that this is what was needed, and he said that Outkast finally sounded unique, not anything like West or East Coast. The label finally offered them a contract. Then Reed called them up and said that they have a Christmas album lined up. And Big Boy was like, WTF, we're rappers. Why on earth will we rap about Christmas? And so they made a song about how Christmas doesn't come in the hood. The track that helped put them on the map is Players Ball. The song began playing on the radio.
Hallelujah. You know, I do some things much different than I used to, 'cause I'm a player doing what the players do.
After the success of Players Ball, the guys began diligently working on their debut album, which was called Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music.
Time and time again, see, I be thinking about that future. Back in the day when we were slaves, I bet we was some cool ass niggas.
At that time,
That was that funk right there. I just played that.
East and West Coast sounded more or less the same, which is precisely why music from the likes of Outkast stood out very much. The album was very well received by music critics and fans alike. This marked the birth of South hip-hop. Outkast were the first Southern group to break the coastal stranglehold on hip-hop. Like the Beatles sparking the British invasion, Outkast put Atlanta on the map and cracked the door for every Southern rapper that would follow. That debut is one of many reasons why Outkast is probably the most important hip-hop group since NWA. And then the sinister and tragic Source Awards of 1995 happened, from which we have a separate video about. At that time, no one took South rap seriously. Radio hosts from New York said that they were country and that they would not play their music. Obviously, this seriously upset the protagonists of our video. In short, when they scored a victory in the Best New Rap Group nomination, Big Boy was composed and tried to be cool about it.
Goody Mob in the house, you know what I'm saying? Want to say what's up to New York, you know what I'm saying? Because we from down south. You know what I'm saying? There's New York up in this, you know what I'm saying? Are y'all in here? You know what I'm saying? This y'all city.
Then there was Andre, who was a little too emotional and spoke out, saying,
I'm tired of folks, you know what I'm saying? The closed-minded folks, you know what I'm saying? It's like we got a demo tape and don't nobody want to hear it, but it's like this, the South got something to say. That's all I got to say.
Big and Dre remembered that night. They ain't really give a fuck about what we was doing, Big said in 96. If you wasn't from New York, they was like, fuck it. But we put all our goddamn time and effort in doing our albums, and it really don't make no sense for them acting like that there.
True.
Throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. And if you like fishing.
The second album was given the name ATLiens, which became the group's breakthrough album. ATLiens is a portmanteau of ATL, short for Atlanta, and Alien. It depicts Outkast's feelings of disconnection with the common world, but also their desire to celebrate their past in Atlanta.
Yeah, I gotta be feeding my daughter, teach her to be that natural woman. She'll be waiting to exhale while you up.
This project really highlights some of the core elements of rap that we see today, along with an homage to the origins of rap. There's the use of hard trap beats, though not as highly mixed as today, along with the reuse of samples and flipping them their head. They learned a lot about production from Organized Noise, which is why, starting with this album, they began working on some tracks by themselves. The duo produced 5 of the 15 cuts, including ATLiens and Elevators, Me and You.
Me and you, your mama and your cousin too.
By the way, Outkast music videos were always ideological and unique. For example, this is what Dre had to say about elevators. It was all about symbolism. The scenes where we're going through the jungle, that represents that we're on a journey. The scenes where we're meditating, that's like we're trying to get our inner spirit right. Given the song's title, Big added that the video also symbolized their growth into a higher level. And it became clear that they were on another level when Andre turned his life around. And one day, Dre told those close to him that he no longer wants to do the things that he had been doing for the last few years. He stopped drinking, smoking weed, and even stopped eating meat. On top of all of that, he grew out his hair, started wearing turbans, and started getting into spiritualism. For those who don't know what spiritualism is, it's the belief in the afterlife and the possibility of communicating with the spirits of the dead through a medium. Later, Andre met a woman called Erykah Badu, who was also interested in following a vegetarian diet. They met at a club in New York. At that time, Erykah had just stepped into the music industry. She was an unusual and brave woman, and Andre started developing some of these traits. They fell for one another, and sometime later, Erykah became pregnant. After the birth of their son, Andre thought even harder about how to change his life. At that time, Big Boy and Andre rarely saw each other. Each one of them had different interests. For example, Big Boy went to parties while Andre no longer did. They had different tour buses. Smoking was allowed in one of them and prohibited in the other. You can already understand who rode in which bus. Big Boy couldn't believe that Dre no longer smoked weed and became a totally different person. Dre stopped wearing turbans and chose brighter outfits. For example, he could wear ski boots with a platinum wig. He's always said that he wanted to dress like music, saying that music is beautiful and colorful. Because of such changes, it was believed that Andre had gone crazy, and many even began questioning his orientation. And so, their next album, Aquemini, was a turning point for them. Here they embraced their individuality and expressed who they really are. Aquemini means Aquarius and Gemini. They both took their own zodiac signs and joined them together, demonstrating each of their individualities and how they come together as a whole. Aquemini is a declaration of total freedom without taking your toes out of the soil. Nearly every member of the Dungeon family contributes memorably, but Outkast assumed more creative control than ever before. Big Boy started rapping even better and cooler than before, and Dre became a wonderful producer. One interesting fact is that the hoedown harmonica sizzle on Rosa Parks belongs to Andre's stepdad. However, before the well-known Rosa Parks, the album features the song Return to the G.
The question is big, but what's up with Andre? Is he in the coke? Is he on drugs? Is he gay? When y'all gonna break up? When y'all gonna wake up? Nigga, I'm feeling better than ever.
After rapping from the perspective of Southern gangsters on their debut album Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music, Outkast, Andre in particular, flipped the script and replaced their glocks with powerful lyrics on their follow-up album AT-Aliens. This drew the criticism from the real hip-hop folks that considered the decision to stop rapping about guns and violence to be soft. Andre3000 was a heavy subject in this track, and he provided some insight into his verse. I quote, "I was young and wilder, and some of my fashion choices people didn't accept at the time," says Andre in an interview. "I started getting flack from some people, so they were like, either he's gay or on drugs. And it's funny because I was high as hell all the way through Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music, but by AT-Aliens and Aquemini, I wasn't smoking or drinking. With Big Boy standing by me, I knew I had to address some of this, because I can't have my homeboy looking bad. I knew a lot of people felt Southern Playalistic was some of our hardest work, and they felt like we strayed from them. So, Return of the Gangsta was trying to give them a sense of, hey, I'm still a regular person." Big Boy added, saying, "Back then, there was a whole bunch of talking. People just couldn't understand how we were making the type of music we were making. There were a lot of attacks coming at my partner. So, we wanted Outkast to be like, you fuck with my homeboy, we're gonna fuck you up. We wanted to let people know this man doesn't stand by himself. I mean, that's my dog. It's a team effort." Andre3000 was a philosopher who forced each one of us to think with his lyrics. Also, he could rhyme a 32-bar rhyme, and you'll still be on the edge of your seat from bar one.
I feel like Andre3000 is one of the best lyricists, besides Big Pun, that I ever heard. I give it to Big Pun Andre 3000 and Tupac. Like Tupac played before anybody, and then Pun and Dre.
On to bar 32 in the Aquemini track. In verse 4, Andre switches up his flow and does a hot damn good job of quadrupling his time, keeping the same rhyme scheme for the entire verse. Often considered to be one of his best verses and one of the best verses in any hip-hop song in general.
Can blend right on in with your kin. Look again, cause I swear I spot one every now and then.
The verse closely follows anapestic tetrameter, which means it has 4 anapestic feet per line. An anapest is 2 short syllables followed by 1 long one. Andre uses this flow for the majority of the verse, but it's most notable in the Original Skin, Alien, and It's Happening line. The Way I Am by Eminem is another famous example of verses in anapestic tetrameter in hip-hop.
Sit back with this pack of zigzags in this bag of this weed. It gives me the shit needed to beat 'em.
And what's most interesting is that Ice Cube said in an interview that the beef between West Coast and East Coast ended when people switched to the South scene.
All the hip hop fans were so fed up with the East Coast West Coast beef
That's true.
that they
That's
said,
true.
you know, we're just gonna pay attention to what the South is doing. You guys gotta heal your wounds and come back.
So it's not surprising why they ended this album in the following way.
But it's like this, the South got something to say. That's all I got to say.
If everything was going well in the guys' careers, then dark times were affecting the artists' personal lives. Andre was going through a breakup with his baby mama, which seriously hurt the rapper. At the same time, Big Boy was going through a rough time with his wife. He already had a kid by that time, but he soon had a second child. However, this...
Now, wait a minute. This is where I must come in. This is where I must come in. Because you see, do you think that it was a coincidence that Erykah Badu and him was going through a breakup? And him and Big Boy and his old lady was going through a breakup at the same damn time? They was all cool, like in this picture, right? I heard some things, man. I heard some things. I heard some things. And these are the motherfucking things that I heard. Without no further ado, no disrespect intended, but I'm just going by what I allegedly heard. We'll let that dawn on y'all for a second. It's crazy. The life of rappers means there are going to be rumors thrown out there about them. Usually these rumors centered around rappers being involved in homosexuality activities. See how macho most rappers portray themselves? This is the worst thing they could be called. But it has happened a lot. Andre 3000. And this is the comments that the wife made. I'm just saying. I have nothing to do with this. I don't know if this is true. I don't know how real this is. It could be AI for all we know. We don't know. I just find it to be weird. They broke up at the same time with their old ladies. And then these nasty rumors came out about them. Some stuff is just better left alone. Shouts out to my boys, Outkast. Pronounced Outkast, because of the unique style and affinity for fashion. Andre 3000 was always dealt with the gay rumors. Big Boy, on the other hand, has relatively popular street followers because his lifestyle of music. Man, listen here. This lady went so off, they paid her to stop. Let me just show you. They paid her to leave that motherfucker alone. Hold on. Now, I don't want nobody to think that I'm sitting here and I'm trying to make this shit up and it's like, yo, why the fuck would you be saying this? Listen, man. Listen. Fuck it. I'm only reading stories right now. And these is just some of the stories. It's just some of them. This is just some of them. It's not as if it's one or two stories. And then they, like I said, they actually paid her. Listen, out of respect for the group, respect for their children, I'm not even gonna dig into no more of what was said. We just gonna go ahead with the flavor. I'm not even gonna do it to them. Because I like these boys. I think they dope. I don't wanna play no part of trying to drag down my brother, man. I don't. But that's what was said. I just put it up on the screen. That's what was said. And I ain't being funny. I'm just throwing it out there. That's what was being said.
This time it was already from a different woman. Thus, the guys had to return to the studio to escape from their own personal problems. And that is exactly how the legendary song Miss Jackson came to be.
Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times.
The song is mostly directed at Ms. Wright, aka Colleen Wright, the mother of Andre's baby mama, Erykah Badu. But Andre chooses to replace her name with the generic Miss Jackson so that this song would remain relevant to all the baby mamas in the world. Andre revealed in an interview that he was too nervous to address Erykah's mom face to face, so he decided to apologize indirectly through this song.
So I liked it, but how did my mama feel? Our baby, she bought her a Miss Jackson license plate. She had the mug.
Merch, pop-up shop.
She had the ink pen. She had the headband. Everything, you know.
Miss Jackson catapulted the Southern rap duo Outkast into the mainstream, reaching the top 5 in several countries and becoming their first of 3 #1 songs on the Billboard Hot 100. It also won the Grammy for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group in 2002. This hit is from the album Stankonia, which also received Grammys in the nomination for Best Album of the Year and the Best Rap Album. We also can't forget about these hits. Stankonia had opened up a kaleidoscopic world that was more of a journey than a statement. One that reveals itself in the detours as much as in the singles. It's an album not just of the moment, but one to let marinate and savor over a lifetime. Following the release of Outkast's 4th studio album, andre3000 felt urged to do something different from his previous projects and moved to Los Angeles to pursue an acting career. He was relatively unsuccessful, landing a minor role in Hollywood Homicide and a 1-episode appearance in the drama series The Shield. He returned to music and recorded a solo album and came up with the name The Love Below for it. That was different from the material he had recorded as part of Outkast. The output was a blend of pop, jazz, and funk with live instruments and more singing than rapping. When recording songs, he used a micro cassette recorder in order to record melodic ideas and lyrics, then built the melody around the lyrics. After creating 5 songs, he informed Big Boy of the solo project he had been working on. Big Boy had already recorded some songs when andre3000 had contacted him, but after their conversation, he decided his next project would be Speakerbox. John Fry, the studio manager and an engineer, would later recognize that much of the media attention surrounding the album's recording was concerned with andre3000 and Big Boy's working relationship and why they had chosen to record separately. He concedes that both enjoyed working solo and were doing so more frequently, but they continued to share and critique each other's music. John Fry also describes how the format of the projects changed rapidly. Initially intended as 2 separate solo releases, they decided to merge their work and create a soundtrack album as Dre3000 had initially intended. They eventually settled on releasing a double album. Fry noted the end of the recording sessions as particularly stressful for andre3000, who he described as drained from working at 4 studios simultaneously. However, it was well worth it. This diligent work was highly valued by the hip-hop industry. After having had 3 #2 albums on the Billboard 200, Outkast were finally able to debut at #1 in the Billboard charts, selling more than 510,000 copies in his first week. The single Hey Ya went to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States, topping the charts there for 9 weeks.
Lean a little bit closer, see roses really smell like boo boo boo.
Speakerbox features Southern hip-hop with more social awareness than The Love Below, exploring themes of family, philosophy, religion, politics, and a wider emotional terrain, from melancholy to outrage to expression. By contrast, The Love Below is identified as showcasing jazzy pop funk, comparable to the music of Prince. The disc's abounding theme is love, examining the emotions one experiences when falling in love and loving oneself. The breakup Andre had with Erykah Badu had influenced much of the lyrical content on the album, which he sees as concerned with the search for true love. Dre ignored rap completely in favor of light crooning. In the Times interview, Andre explained, "I was on my path before I even met Erykah. But one thing I can say, I'm singing around the house and Erykah's like, that sounds great. Why are you not doing it?" In 2004, Outkast were the first and still only artists to win Album of the Year for rap.
We love y'all. Thank you very much.
I wonder if andre3000 would have became a singer, because the mother skunk could sing, bro. Y'all gotta hear some of his melodies on these songs. That be him singing, him and Sleepy Brown.
My Southern playlist to Cadillac music.
But they also won in 2 other nominations, and specifically in the Best Rap Album of the Year and Best Urban Alternative Performance. There, Andre was not so emotional. For instance, when he received the award for Best Rap Album, he wasn't so talkative.
Thank you.
By the way, in 2023, Speakerbox The Love Below officially became the best-selling rap album of all time, which sold 13 million copies.
That's right.
The sales of the release surpassed the sales of the iconic The Eminem Show. In a 2006 interview with MTV, andre3000 hinted at the possibility of a hiatus, saying, "I don't have the pulse anymore. It's not as exciting to me." It was clear that andre3000 and Big Boi were ready to take a break from Outkast. Andre continued to occasionally entertain us with some tracks. For example, listen for yourself at how cool his verse is on Rick Ross's track.
A dolphin gon' shake his fin, regardless if he gets in or out of water. Most important thing for him is to swim.
Further, he continued to keep ties with rappers. For instance, he was at the studio with Kendrick Lamar.
Tell me you're watching the change, that's way more believable. Give me a feasible game, rather her seasonal name. I'll let the people know this.
Oh, and he didn't quit his acting career either.
I mean, we're broke, but we're cool.
Yeah, we have a right life.
Might as well hang out with us and be broke. And cool.
In turn, Big Boi continued making music, releasing 2 albums.
Throw the juice up in the sky just for the shut the buzz. I'm double fisted and you empty, you can grab a cup. Anthrax in it, pass that, hit it, sniff it, snout it, then gon' take a bump, shout it. I take a number cause I'm serving the chump that wanna jump up and get.
However, all of these did not reassure fans, and they were waiting for a reunion for many years. And in 2014, Outkast reunited for Coachella and an ensuing tour. Andre can still recall that first night, how strange it was being back on stage in front of thousands of people, not to mention Paul McCartney and Prince, who called the next day to reprimand Andre for checking out of the show halfway through.
And first thing he says is, "You know what your problem is? You don't realize how big y'all are. You got to remind people who you are."
After the reunion, Andre went back to doing what he was comfortable doing, which was being on his own. He was often seen on the streets where he played the flute.
Hi, Andre.
Hello. Like, I have 2 holes, so it's like, pause.
Currently, he's satisfied with the fact that he has a peaceful life and that he can go and do his laundry without anyone bothering him. Yeah, of course, people come up to him. However, this is not comparable with other celebrities, such as Kanye West, for instance.
No, but Kanye, you're a celebrity.
Andre admitted that, throughout his life, he struggled with social anxiety. According to his own words, the cause of it all was his huge fame.
Because it's really unnatural to have that much attention as a human, you know?
Andre said that Big Boy never pressured him to revive the group, and he perfectly understands why. It's because Andre is already a drastically different person. In the previous year, he released a new album, New Blue Sun, and the first track is called I Swear I Really Wanted to Make a Rap Album, but this is literally the way the wind blew me this time. The thing is that in an interview for GQ, Andre said that he cannot imagine himself rapping at this age. I remind you that he is currently 48 years old.
Things that happen in my life, like what do you talk, like I gotta go get a colonoscopy, like what do you...
However, he does not think about it, but he wants to understand how to present it to the community in an interesting way. He also admitted that he's not against recording one more album for Outkast.
I want another Outkast album. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like I wanted an Outkast album a long time ago.
In the meantime, we got 87 minutes of experimental jazz and instrumental flute music, where there...
I find it to be funny, the statement that was made, and what Big Boy wife said, and how it all played out at the end. Like, no. Listen, I ain't never been a fan on coincidences, right? His wife said what? Tell fans to expect what before what? Man, listen. This world is cool. There's some cool people out here. There's some cool people. And you got some cool people. But I'm going to tell you like this here. They left at the height of their careers. Like President told them, do y'all not understand how big you are? Meaning like, if you would have kept going, greatness was to come. Greatness was to come.
Absolutely no vocals from Andre. Just an arsenal of wind instruments, both analog and digital, which are available at the disposal of the musician. In total, there are 8 tracks, but many of them are longer than 10 minutes.
All played and playing the flute. I'm playing the flute on all of them. Right, shit crazy.
Big Boy recently posted online a totally emotional video with andre3000, which you could only watch with a smile on your face.
Crazy. And like his last album, he played the flute. But ever since that young lady made that statement,
Big Boy recently posted online a totally
no more Outkast. She said you will see an Outkast
emotional
porno.
video with andre3000, which you could only watch with a smile on your face.
Got it. Hey, man. You talking about I ain't playing on being a flute. Hey.
Outkast was a remarkable group, which proved that there are no boundaries in hip-hop. You can dress in whichever way you want and make whichever kind of music you want. And these principles are used by many modern-day artists. The next video I recommend you watch is
Man, Outkast was them guys. But I'm going to tell you like this. When that wife made that statement, and some people say they don't believe it. I know. Some people say they don't believe it. They don't. They ain't got you. It's their right. It's their God-given right. But I heard her say it with my own I heard her say this with my own 2 ears, with my own 2 eyes, watching her say this. And she didn't per se say, she did say that she did find stuff in his phone with him and Andre. And she said that you will see a porno of them before you see that group back together. I never seen them back together. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Oh, they was for real. Like that ass. They was for real, bro. Leave a comment down below. Cause I didn't want to believe it until I read it, and the divorce is over with. If you believe this, down in the comment, leave it down in the comments. If you don't believe it, leave it down in the comments. But please, by any means necessary, do not get mad at me, blame me, curse me out. I'm just asking the question. What do you think? Do you think that this is true? Because there's so many other sites that said that you could do the research. I don't know. Like, share, subscribe. It's your boy Costa Don. I wanted to know why were Big Boy Jeremy, why were Andre 3000, one of the hottest artists in the game, just walk away from hip hop?